I think I'm losing time, and people around me are disappearing. Posted by you, lost time, throwaway, aw, no sleep. Original post, 1 month ago. I think I'm losing time, and people around me are disappearing. I know how that sounds. Like something you'd hear in a movie about mental breakdowns or demonic possession. But I'm not making this up. I'm not exaggerating. This is real, and if I don't document it now, I might never get another chance. I've always been the type who keeps to himself. I don't party. I don't do drugs. My idea of excitement is a Friday night documentary and takeout. I work in IT. Nothing glamorous. My social life consists of co-workers I occasionally nod to in the hallway and the same cashier I see every week at the corner store. Nothing strange, nothing dangerous. Until a few months ago. It started small. I'd wake up feeling sore, dirty, like I'd been outside working all night. Once I found leaves in my bed. Another time, my boots were caked with dried mud I couldn't remember walking through. At first, I thought maybe I was sleepwalking. Or maybe I was just tired, missing small things. It happens. But then came the lost time. At first, it was a few minutes. I'd be making coffee, blink, and suddenly it was cold in my hand, half drunk. Later, hours would vanish. Entire days felt like they had been erased. I'd look at my phone and see texts I didn't remember sending, sometimes to people I hadn't spoken to in years. The messages were unsettling. She asked too many questions. Where do we put him? Don't worry, it's taken care of. Then Dan went missing. He was the first. Dan was an acquaintance. Funny guy. Knew too much about serial killers, but made it sound like trivia. We bowled together every Thursday night. He was the kind of person who left a noticeable void when gone. He just stopped showing up. I asked around. Someone said he mentioned something about moving out west. But Dan hated travel. He hated cold weather. None of it made sense. A week later, I found a message in my phone's drafts folder. Never sent. Dan's heavier than I thought. Need help with disposal. I didn't write that. Then Natalie. We'd been dating. Not seriously, but long enough that she knew my routines, my favorite coffee shop, where I kept my spare key. She came over one Friday night. We ordered Thai, watched some horror flick she insisted was too cheesy to be scary, and drank a little wine. The next morning, she was gone. I don't remember her leaving. Her purse and phone were still at my place. The wine glasses were rinsed and neatly placed on the drying rack. But there was something off. The whole apartment smelled faintly metallic, like rust, like blood. I checked my hallway camera. Natalie came in with me, but there's no footage of her leaving. None. It just skips. Jumps from 2:42 a.m. to 4:01 a.m., like the footage was deleted or never existed. I stopped sleeping after that. My dreams, when I did sleep, were different, more vivid, more violent. In them I'm standing in shadowed places, always somewhere forgotten. A barn, a ditch, a forest clearing. I'm holding things, tools, weapons, and I'm always watching someone beg. They have no face, but I know them, and I'm smiling. Then came Jenna. She worked in the cubicle across from me. We shared eye rolls during team meetings and traded bad jokes. We weren't friends exactly, but we got along. One day she didn't show up. By the second day, her computer was locked. Her chair sat empty. The office manager said she was on indefinite leave. Just like that. I got home that night and found a new journal entry in my notebook. I hadn't written in it for days. She screamed when I opened the door. Got blood on the carpet. Cleaned it with bleach. My hands trembled as I read it. I ran to check my carpet. The hallway rug looked slightly lighter than usual. Not much, just off, like it had been scrubbed recently. Too recently. I bought a security cam for my bedroom. Plugged it in. Let it roll all night. The next morning, I checked the footage. At 3:03 a.m., I sat upright in bed. I didn't move for nearly 3 minutes, just stared at the wall. Then, without blinking, I got up, walked to the closet, and pulled out something heavy, a black duffel bag I'd never seen before. Inside, gloves, a saw, duct tape, zip ties, a stained towel. My face in the footage was blank, lifeless. But I turned to the camera before leaving and whispered, "One more." Then we rest. Then I smiled. That smile still haunts me. It wasn't mine, not really. It looked like my face didn't quite know how to make the expression. I stopped going to work. I turned off my phone. I tried to lock myself inside my apartment, but every morning I woke up, the locks were undone. There were footprints, my size, tracking mud across the floor. Sometimes I'd find blood on the sink, a shirt soaked in something dark stuffed behind the washing machine. I tried burning the journal. It came back. I tore it apart, shredded every page. The next night it was waiting on my nightstand, good as new. A fresh entry written on the first page, "Don't fight it. You're just a vessel." That same day I got a letter slipped under my door. It was from Jenna. If you're reading this, then I didn't make it. Check the woods behind the old barn. I think that's where you take them. I didn't want to go, but I did. The barn was half collapsed, charred beams, a patch of ash and wildflowers where a fire must have happened years ago. I walked behind it, through brittle weeds and broken fencing. I found the mound, fresh dirt, 4 shallow graves. I couldn't bring myself to dig, but there were objects, half buried, sticking out like fingers from the soil. Dan's watch, Natalie's necklace, a silver ring Jenna wore every day, and something else, something I wish I'd never touched. A mask, plain, white porcelain. No features, just 2 holes for the eyes. When I picked it up, I felt something, like a click in my brain, a door opening, like someone else smiling inside me. I dropped it and ran, but I don't think I got away, because last night I blacked out again, and this morning I found a receipt in my jacket pocket. Rope, plastic sheeting, a shovel, purchased at 2:11 a.m. There was mud under my fingernails. And my neighbor's dog won't stop barking at me. I don't know how much longer I have. I don't know if I'm still in control. So I'm writing this here now, while I still feel like me. If someone you know starts losing time, starts dreaming in blood, starts locking their doors from the inside, run. Because sometimes the monster doesn't come from the shadows. Sometimes it wears your skin, and it doesn't need your permission to take over. Update 1 3 weeks ago, hi again. I didn't think I'd post another update. I thought going to the police would be the end of this, that someone would stop me or it before it got worse. But they didn't believe me. I showed them the graves behind the barn. They were gone, like they'd never been disturbed. The ground looked fresh, yes, but clean. No watch, no necklace, no ring, nothing. They asked me if I was on anything, suggested I get some rest. I asked for the footage from my security cam. It was gone too. The files were corrupted, blank static. Everything I had that proved what was happening, erased. Since then, I've started locking myself in at night, Real locks, chains, screws. I even nailed the windows shut. I've set alarms, cheap motion sensors, and hooked up cameras that auto-upload to a drive I don't have access to while awake. Still, I wake up outside. 2 nights ago, I woke up at the river, barefoot, soaked, freezing, a carving knife in my hand. My palms were raw, like I'd been dragging something through gravel. I don't know how I got out of the locks. I don't even remember falling asleep. It's getting stronger. Sometimes I catch myself grinning at things that aren't funny, or standing too still, holding my breath for minutes without realizing. I'll be brushing my teeth and feel something watching me from inside the mirror. I tried taking sleeping pills. It didn't help. I just lost more time. I tried staying awake for 2 straight days. On the second night, I passed out in the shower. When I came to, my fingernails were caked in something brown, and there were scratches on the inside of the tub. I think it punishes me when I fight it. Update 2. 1 week ago, I did something last night. Something desperate. I tried to trap myself, not just lock the doors. I handcuffed myself to the radiator, set up a camera, sat in that position for hours, twitching, sweating, whispering nonsense to myself to stay awake. And somehow, it still got out. The camera footage showed me ripping the radiator pipe out of the wall with strength I don't have. No struggle. Just stood up, like the cuffs meant nothing. Then I walked to the closet, opened that damned duffel bag again. The way I moved, it wasn't human. It was graceful, like a dancer in slow motion. Precise, detached. A man wearing a man. I whispered something again to the camera. He doesn't remember the woods, so we'll go back. I followed the footprints this morning, out of my apartment, down the stairs, into the street, and then the woods again. I found a jacket, not mine. Blood on the sleeve. There was a name tag. Marissa. I don't know a Marissa, or maybe I do and I just can't remember anymore. There was a moment, standing there, where I felt it behind my eyes. Laughing, not with joy but with certainty, like a patient parent watching a child realize they've lost. It wants to erase me, and I'm running out of time. Final update, posted 3 hours ago. This will be the last time I write as me. I don't think I can stop it anymore. The blackouts are longer. The voice is louder. It talks to me now, audibly. At first, it was just whispers under the sound of the shower or static on the TV. But now it speaks in the quiet, clear as my own thoughts. You were always mine. You opened the door. There is no you without me. I tried stabbing my leg last night, just to feel something, to prove I was still in control. I didn't feel pain, just pressure, like poking a mannequin. And I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it found it funny. I checked the camera feed this morning. Last night I stood in the kitchen for hours, carving symbols into the table. Circles, teeth, eyes, a figure in the center, arms stretched out like a marionette. Then I looked directly at the camera and said, "Soon there'll be no difference between us." The worst part? I think, I want it now. I'm tired of being afraid, tired of pretending the monster is separate. Maybe it's right. Maybe I let it in a long time ago. Maybe I am the mask. Tonight I'm going back to the barn to finish what we started. If you don't hear from me again, don't look for me. Don't try to help. Just check your locks, watch your sleep, and if you ever find yourself waking up with blood under your nails and no memory of how it got there, it's already too late.